Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Trix. Today we're going to be doing a Rust video. I know it's been a minute since we did a Rust video, but I was like, you know what? I want to try one. So I got it set up for Rust specific for exorcism tutorials and stuff, like the solution for like the exercises. I can now do it on local. So if you guys like don't want to make an exorcism account, but you want to give like the tutorials a try or something, or like you want to just look at the solutions and you don't want to have an exorcism account, I've put my solutions on my GitHub so that you guys can check it out. It's under the repo named exorcism, and then you just go into the folder for the language and then go into the folder for the actual problem, and it has a readme with the problem description and then like all of the files for like testing and actually like the solution, obviously. But yeah, let me just switch to this. Sorry you're seeing my screen, it's just that I have some stuff open. And then let me just open up a terminal. Let me actually I'll just remove this one. There we are. So the ones that we're going to do today are Resistor color, .dsl, and Palindrome. I'm hoping these guys aren't difficult. My plan is I'm going to do Resistor color for external crates, so this one's finished. Then instead of me like completing every single exercise like I was doing before, I'm just going to do the learning track because that's probably going to be easier. So I'm going to leave poker and which is the other one? Poker and rectangles till last because those are hard. I'll do Resistor color, .dsl, and Palindrome today. Next week I'll do Queen Attack, RNA transcription, and simple linked lists. And then the week after that I'll do poker and rectangles. But yeah, let's get started. So let me just grab this so that I can code in it. I keep opening a new one instead of switching to it. Hang on. There we are. So CD into Rust and then Resistor color. Okay, let me cat 3d.md. Okay, so welcome to Resistor color on Exorcism's Rust track. If you need help running the test or submitting the code, check out the help markdown. If you get stuck on the exercise, check out hints, but try and solve it without using those first. Introduction: most programs have dependencies on some libraries. Managing those by hand can be a pain. Luckily, the Rust ecosystem comes standard with Cargo. Cargo can manage dependencies for a project. You will often see external packages being referred to as crates in Rust. The crate is a compilation unit in Rust. Crate can be compiled into a binary or into a library. Most of the time, adding external dependencies is simple by adding a line to your cargo.toml. In this exercise, enum iterator and in enum dependencies were added for you. Instructions: if you want to build something using Raspberry Pi, you'll probably use resistors. For this exercise, you need to know two things about them. Each resistor has a resistance value. Resistors are small, so small in fact that if you printed the resistance value on them, it would be hard to read. So if you guys have never seen a resistor, I done physics, so in physics you use resistors for like some of your practicals. So let me just bring up a resistor. So a resistor looks like this, right? But this is like way zoomed in. An actual like resistor in your hand is like, what's like a good example? It's like maybe this size, like in your hand. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's like that size in your hand. It's just some random thing that was in one of my drawers, but it's very tiny. And that's like on the bigger end of resistors. There are resistors that are way smaller than that. To get around this problem, manufacturers print color bands onto the resistor to denote their resistance value. Each band has its position and numeric value. So that's why all of these like resistors have different bands. So this one shows you that all of these resistors have the same like resistance. This resistor and this resistor would have different resistances because the actual colors of the bands are different. First two bands are simple encoding system. Each color maps to a single number. In the exercise, you're going to create a helpful program so that you don't have to remember the values of the bands. Colors are encoded as follows: black is 0, brown is 1, red is 2, orange 3, yellow 4, green 5, blue 6. Violet 7, grey 8, white 9. Goal of this exercise is to create a way to look up the numeric value associated with a particular band, to convert the numerical value into a string representing color, to list the different band colors. For task number 2 and 3, you will need external crates, enum iterator and enum, which are including exercise cargo.toml. Be sure to check the crates documentation to learn how to use them. The mnemonics map the color to the numbers that when stored as an array happen to map to their index in the array. Better be right or you're getting values go wrong. Okay, so this is just a list then. More information on the color encoding of resistors can be found in their source created. Okay, cool. So if I end in here, src librc, so this just has the enum black, blue, brown, green, grey, orange, red, violet, white, yellow, right? Color to value. Convert a color into a numeric value, right? So, let's convert enum to integer. Enum reference to a number. Okay, cool. So, if in here I just equal 0, (9), then this is star foo as U8. So let me just drag this over here so I can look at that. So enum you have foo, then in here we just have underscore color is a resistor color, right? So if I dd that, I can just do star underscore color as U32, right? Then convert the value into a string representation of a color. So inside here, okay, let me just, in here, it said, to convert the numeric value into a string representing color and to list different bands. For task number 2 and 3, you will need external crates, enum iterator and int enum. So enum iterator, int enum. That looks like Java. I need Rust. Iteration in Rust. Oh yeah, hang on. If I control like this. There we are. Don't know why that was taking forever. Enum iterator. Oh, it's already there. Never mind. Convert the value into a string representation. Rust int to enum. You know what? I just want to check if I'm doing this correctly. Yes, we cheating again. Did I have that? Debug partial. I need to copy turn into enum iterator int enum. There. That looks fine. This one isn't as up to date as this one. There. That's fine. Color.int underscore value. That's interesting. Does this not work? Whoops. I need. Where is it? Terminal. Nope. Need horizontal terminal. Oh my god, what did I just do? New toggle. I need landing. Sorry. It's been a long time since I used them. What is it? I need to do. How do you run a Rust thing? Overview. Using it locally. That's fine. I wonder how do you run locally again? Rust run locally. Interesting. Rust C. Okay, so consider adding a main function to never see type importing due to format errors. What did I miss? Alright, so this just converts color to an int, so underscore color dot int underscore value. I'm realizing now that I should just do like mating or something. Let me have a look. What can I do? No. Oh wait, Mason. Do I have Rust? Me realizing I should have just installed a Rust like linter and stuff just to show me what I'm doing right and wrong. Rust as an implementation, SP configuration schema. Generated start, Rust analyze, that's fine, that looks fine. Oh yeah, I need to find dot. Where? What dot? No. Nope. Nope. Okay. Color. Okay, and then see the code. Okay, so inside here, I just want to know, will this work? Rust the this method not found in that. That converts to a U size. I wanted a, okay, hang on. maybe a missing crate int underscore enum. Use crate right. Cargo build. If you're wondering why I'm drinking like during videos right now, it's because my throat is like feeling a bit hoarse. So I have like honey water in here. So if I'm drinking like a lot, it's because my throat is very dry. I'm just waiting for it to install. Everybody's changing it to a U size. Okay. So this dude here has done prep U size, right? And all he's done is he's changed this to mod to a U size, right? And then in value, right? Then in here he's changed this to a U size, and where that should be fine everywhere else. Okay, so I just want to see what that does. Does it work now? Cargo build method not found in resistor color. Use enum. Use int underscore enum colon int enum. Use enum underscore iterator colon into enum iterator. Rep U size debug. Okay, so they have clone, copy, debug, EQ, partial EQ, int enum into enum emulator. I mean into enum iterator. Right. Pub enum resistor color, and then all the numbers, fn color to. Okay, so let me see. Is it because of this? That and this. That's fine. And then in here. Okay, so inside here, this is for. Why can't I open it? Nope. Okay. God. Really. Bloody hell. Anyway, this is for converting the miracle value into a string representation. So, in here, okay, I understand this. So you want to match resistor color, and then you want to retrieve from underscore int, because you're retrieving an int from this method. You take value, you pass it into this where you get the actual like number, and then you format it with this. I'm assuming what this is doing is it's getting R, which is the resistor color from here, so black, blue, or whatever. It's seeing that value is inside here, matching it to the actual enum, and then formatting it in here to where R is just being formatted to replace this. Otherwise, error, and return value out of dot two underscore. Okay, and then the last one. So resistor color into num and let's put it okay, so all this is doing is going to resistor color and then enumerating each of these because they're already in order by 0 to 9, and then it's collecting them through a stream. So just returning a vector object with this collect. So this is just enumerating through each one. So if it didn't have collect, it will just return each one. But with this collection, it's storing it in an object, which is a vector object of resistor colors. Okay. Now if I do cargo build, probably not gonna work. Yep. Job still running. Okay, cargo build. Variant or associated. Okay, so how do I check if this works? Let me see. Settings, CLI, where do I use this? Exorcism, submit. Okay, so if I go to here, click on this, my iterations. There should be a way to test this. Because this is test passed. Hang on. Cargo test. I have no idea why mine isn't working. Hang on. Cargo build, cargo run. Why no luck? Yeah. Newest. Okay, let's. No, this one. Okay, this one. Let's see if this works. Nah, what the hell? Let's see. Is it that it only works with a specific version of Enum Iterator? Oh, for fuck's sake. Good to know. That's so fucking annoying. Okay, cool. That was pain. Don't know why that switched over. .dsl. Okay. Oh, how long have we recorded for? 30 minutes. That's a mega oof. Okay. Nice. Cool. Construct a new graph shot. Okay, let's see. What does it need? That's long. Jeez. Fuck. Let's grab this and have me try to explain it, shall we? Okay, so we're retrieving the hash map collection. We're creating a macro called implement attributes, which has two functions: a get attributes function, which takes itself and a string key and returns an option with a string, right? And that just returns, it accesses the object, gets its attributes, and maps them as strings. Then there's another function called with attributes, which makes the itself object mutable. Hang on one sec. And we're back. My parent just came home from shopping. So we have a mutable attribute for this self object, attributes for an array of strings, which returns self. So all it's doing is it's going through the attributes, iterating through them, mapping them, each string to a string, and then collecting them in the attribute object and returning the original object. I mean the attribute variable inside that object. Then here we're just creating a graph with nodes, edges, and a hash map for attributes. We're implementing the graph by having a new method for the graph, the with nodes method, which just takes a node and the self and the actual graph and converts the nodes to a vector object inside nodes and returns the actual graph. Then you have edges, which just does the same thing but with the edges on the graph. And then get node goes through the nodes, iterates through them, finds a node with a specific name that was passed to the function, and returns that as an option with that node, and then a call to implement attributes. Then for edge, you have, so is edge? Yeah, edge is an edge. Okay, so edge just has a from string and a to string for the nodes, and then a hash map of strings. Implementing it creates a new from and to, and implementing it has a new function which takes a from node and a to node, I'm assuming, from to string to string, and then spreads out the original edge object inside of itself. Then you have the node, which is just the name of the node, and then a hash map of strings. And then a new object would just contain the name of the node and then spread out all of the other nodes inside of this. Then there's a module for the graph, which uses the graph from here, gets the graph items, a module for edge and a module for node. Okay. Cargo test. There we are. So in syllabus, that's another one done. Then all we got left is palindrome. Okay, and then we grab palindrome. I'm hoping this is easier for you guys to understand when I'm doing it. Although my explanation is still shit. Wait, I could just control shift V, can't I? Yep. CD into CD palindrome. Okay. So basically, the number that when you reverse it is still the same number. I mean, reverse the digits, not the actual, like, in place. So if I end on this, oh yeah, whoops. Cargo build. There we go. I can then. Solutions. This one. This one. Oh, that's not that bad. So that's a U64. It has a new option, U64. Yep, cool. Okay, so instead of so all we're doing is if is. Did they make an is palindrome? Yes, they did. They made new functions. That's great, isn't it? Is palindrome. Everybody makes an is palindrome. Okay, never mind. I'll just use this one. If is palindrome value sum palindrome value, right? I wrote sign instead of sum, which is great. Else none. So that's just returning an option with palindrome. Okay, then we have int inner. Okay. Into inner. Oh, okay. So all this is doing. So that's just returning the first value of the palindrome, because the palindrome struct only has a U64. And this is from like a long time ago that I think I was talking about it. If you don't assign a number to, if you don't assign a variable name to a value in a struct, it automatically gets an index. So if you just give the index of the thing you want to return, you'll get that variable. So we're calling 0 to retrieve the actual like integer that would be put into the palindrome. There we are. And then now we just need to find a function. What is palindrome, right? And that would just take a U64, just like what palindrome has. And we want it to return a bool to verify whether it is or isn't palindrome. So, yeah, value mod 10 equals 0. We want to return false. So I'm assuming that if it returns 0, why has this dude got a thing there? I have no clue. Anyway, let mod reverse equals 0. Let mod Okay, so if the value mod 10 equals 0, so if it's divisible by 100, you return false because, well, 100 isn't a palindrome number because 100 reverse is just 1, so you know, yeah, that ain't cool. Yeah, it has to be a remainder for you to be like, oh yeah, that's a palindrome number. Okay, now while r is greater than 0, reverse equals reverse times 10 plus r mod. So that, all that is doing is getting the reverse of, it's getting the reverse of the number if you times it by 10, and then r modulus 10. So reverse is 0 times 10. I don't understand that actually. That logic is booky. Interesting. Anywho, let me just continue. March on. That's what you can do. I in min. So you're just iterating from the minimum number to the maximum number. That was passed here. Now you do if I mod 10 was equal to 0. You just want to continue. And I don't know why that was a cap. 4j in min to max. If j mod 10 equals 0, continue. Let p less than min p dot unwrap for u64 colon max. What was I doing? Oh my days. I swear, sometimes genuinely have no idea what I'm doing with my life. I feel like I'm losing my sanity. Not all the time, but sometimes, yeah. Min p dot unwrap or unwrap or 64 colon min max p 7 p match max p some min some max some palindrome gonna new min dot unwrap palindrome dot new max dot unwrap, and then after 3 closing brackets, yep, 1 2 3, yep, comma, underscore, comma, and then underscore. Okay, so that's the end of that, and then underscore 1. I have no idea if this is gonna work. Mad. Okay. Let me just explain that code as best as I can. Okay, so this is just palindrome. This takes a value. Okay, explain that. Okay, this logic I don't understand. This I think I can explain. So you've got a min value and max value. You're iterating from the min and max value that were placed here. Then you're checking if I from this modulus 10 is 0. If it is, you want to just continue the loop because you know that it's probably not going to work. Same thing when you're doing in here. You just got to continue until you get a number that isn't, that when you divide it by 10, it doesn't give you a remainder of 0. So multiples of 10 aren't palindrome numbers. That's what you need to remember. Right? And then this just does it multiple times in case you get to like 1,000. Okay. Then, sorry. In here, you have p equals I times j. So you're just timesing the iteration in I and the iteration in j. Then you're checking if p is a palindrome number. If it's less than min underscore p, you unwrap the integer against the maximum that number can be, and you return sum p, right? So you set none to sum p as an option with that palindrome number. Same thing with max. Return option with that palindrome number. Then in here, all you're doing is returning sum min max, and you're unwrapping that with inside a new palindrome object. So you're mapping that min and maximum value to a palindrome object, and then returning it as an option. Otherwise, you just return none. I feel like that made sense in my head. Anyway, if I go here and then in my iterations, it should it failed. Interesting. Why's that? Because the tests are passing local. Well, it's ignoring the tests, but okay. I don't know why this always happens. I'll be like, oh yeah, I write it out correctly, and then no, I haven't. I had to. Okay. Let's go ahead and insert this stuff in the correct order line. There we are. Okay, now let's go to here. Let's check the iterations and see if it's passing. If it doesn't pass, I'm just going to submit it. Yeah. Failed. You know what? I'm submitting this. Weird. Genuinely weird. Anyway. All I've got left is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, wait. Queen attack, RNA, transcription, tournament, robot simulator, and skill generator. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. Yeah. So poker and rectangles will be the last one. It'll take me like 1, 2, 2 more weeks to get through everything for Rust. But yeah, anyway. Let me just switch over to here. Anyway, if you like the video, please leave a like on the video. If you dislike the video, please leave a dislike on the video and comment down below ways I can improve content on the channel. If you want to see any type of videos or like want to watch me build something, choose a language, tell me what you want me to build and I'll do it. But other than that, thanks for watching. Check out the links in the description. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.